Fall season's upon us, and while I've talked about what I feel are the titles people are looking forward to the most, I think I should do a similar list but for the new titles. So if you're one of those people who are new and looking for something to watch this fall, or if you simply want to see what this season has in store for us in terms of new shows, then welcome to the list. Today I'll share what I think are the top 10 titles people seem to be most excited for this season, and I'll be excluding sequels this time round. Berserk of Gluttony opens up the list, and I sure am excited for this one. Berserk of Gluttony is one of the series I've seen floating around on the internet for quite some time now. I've always been interested in getting up to speed with it and really anticipate its anime adaptation. Judging from what I've seen in the communities, I'm not the only one. Berserk of Gluttony has all the looks of one of those edgy rise against the world plots like Frieren, and you know how much I enjoyed that one. And just like a lot of similar shows, the protagonist Fate Graphite has to deal with a pretty annoying handicap. He's already someone who's at the lowest of the low, and to make matters worse, he gets saddled with a seemingly useless skill, one that makes him constantly hungry. However, killing a thief soon reveals the sinister mechanics behind the skill, the ability to take souls and their respective powers. With this skill, this man who's at the bottom of the food chain may have just found the answer to strike back against the cruel situation that fate has bestowed upon him. Yet the summary pretty much sums up what you should expect. Expect quite a lot of awesome moments starring our protagonist, some much wanted edge, and a pretty good plot, if what people said is to be delivered. I personally can't wait to see how this turns out as an anime. We then move on to the world of Korean manhwa, with the Retuner's magic should be special. With Korean titles getting more and more traction these days, possibly headlined by the hype of Solo Leveling, I'm not surprised we're getting more adaptations from them. One of the comparatively less heralded but just as exciting titles is coming this next season, and it's A Returner's Magic Should Be Special. It tells of a world ravaged by war between magicians and labyrinth beasts. When it took an entire party of elite adventurers to defeat the first dragon, things already looked dire enough. But things quickly go from bad to worse in the aftermath. Just when all hope seems lost for the last magician Desir Herman, he gets sent back in time, back to when he spent his days studying in the Magic Academy Hebrion. Aiming to use his second chance wisely, he looks to fix the mistakes of the past and save his comrades, ultimately seeking to pull everyone out of the awful fate that awaits them. Time travel stories like this have often captivated a lot of the anime viewing audience, and I'm positive this one's not going to be any different. I really wonder how well the plot works when you give it a backdrop of the world of magic, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of cool fights ahead. 100 Girlfriends Who Really Love You is up next.
恋の神様仏様、高校でこそは彼女ができて幸せな学園生活が送れますように。
大丈夫じゃ。
再戦ドラマ
Say that again. 5 reallys, and that's a mouthful of a title, and it's really fitting for what a wild show this one is. Fresh middle school graduate Rentaro manages to confess to the girl he loves. Unfortunately though, he gets rejected, marking his 100th failure. Undeterred, he then goes to a shrine and prays for a girlfriend in high school, and as they say, we should be careful what we wish for, because naturally, things go awfully wrong. Sure, he gets confessed to immediately, and apparently 100 soulmates await, all to make up for the 100 rejections, funnily enough, but that wish of his comes with a catch. If any one of the girls gets into a relationship with him, she dies. No ifs, no buts. Now with 100 soulmates ready and waiting, it's the ultimate test for Rentaro on how he'll juggle these relationships. Is the time ripe for one of the insane harem rom-coms in modern anime? We're gonna find out when fall season hits. Up next we have Deranged Detective. With a title like that, you'd expect one of two things: a serious mystery show featuring detectives, or where things go over the top and turns into a comedy. This one falls squarely in the latter, and it's one of the really fun series I've had the pleasure of reading. Who knew that a gag series would work so well with the mystery detective setup? Sure, you get the mystery solving aspects, but when the series stars a dysfunctional duo of an overly eager officer and an eccentric veteran who looks nothing like the part and seems to want nothing to do with detective work, entertaining things happen. But who knows, maybe the upstart Dotomo Shikamaru may be the key to Ron returning to his glory days as an ace detective. With this series, I can't promise a deep plot, nor can I vouch for anything as compelling in terms of mysteries that the actual mystery show can offer. However, what the show can give you is a lot of fun. There's a lot of quirkiness to the characters as they go about solving cases, and they do a great job helping the comedic aspects of the show. Watch out for this one if you're up for some unwinding this fall.
断る。
Right at number 6 is Ragna Crimson.
だったら俺にくれよ。俺には今強さがいるんだ。
If you're up for something more familiar, more traditional, then maybe Ragna Crimson might tickle your fancy. It's a pretty tight fantasy adventure we've got here, harkening to the days of the good old medieval RPGs where two individuals team up to take on the dragons that rule the land. Ragna and Crimson may be as uneasy as allies can be, but one goal binds the duo together, destroying the Dragon Lords and freeing the post-apocalyptic world from their rule. Set in a world that feels oddly familiar yet has an air of mystery to it, Ragna Crimson is one of my top recommendations for people looking for a thrilling adventure this fall. Sure, the premise may not seem that special at first, but there are some twists, especially with Ragna, that ultimately shake things up drastically down the line. Things can get really unpredictable for sure. As daring dragon hunter teams up with a possibly straight up loose cannon in Crimson, there's a lot of combustible elements at play here.
行こう、クリムゾン。
Next we have Shangri La Frontier. If you ever felt like you never got tired of gaming, even beating the worst games imaginable, you'd likely hit up pretty well with Rakuro, the protagonist of Shangri La Frontier. I mean, this is a guy who's made it his life goal, his mission statement, to find every awful game under the sun and beat them. Glitchy messes and everything? Not a problem. However, things change when he suffers burnout before getting introduced to Shangri La Frontier, supposedly the best and most awesome VR game in town. Will the skills he accumulated from mastering bottom-of-the-barrel games come in handy as he takes this plunge and uncovers the secrets of this new game? We'll have to wait till fall to find out, but this is already looking mighty promising for a video game show. The premise is already pretty nice, and it's one of the video game shows that places some emphasis on strategy and teamwork. The source material has gone pretty detailed with the actual game mechanics aspect, and I expect this approach to catch gamers' attention in anime form too.
Shangri La Frontier!
Undead Unlock is at rank 4.
お前もこっち側だな。
Some people just have an affinity with being unlucky. Like Fuko Izumo. After her favourite manga ended, there just seems to be no point in keeping life going. Nothing good comes out from her after all, especially with what seems like a curse that brings misfortune to people around her. However, it was her attempt to end herself that lets her path cross with Andy, an immortal man who also wishes for death. Together, the two of them team up, all with the goal of giving Andy the best death possible. A task easier said than done, especially when you factor in a shady organisation that's taken an interest in the duo. A unique series that's making some headways in Shonen Jump, Undead Unlock's due for an anime adaptation. As expected from a lot of the pioneers from the magazine, Undead Unlock dazzles audiences with creative powers, an ample dash of fan service, characters with presence, and an immersive adventure for us to follow, despite the supposedly dark premise. Mark your calendars, Undead Unlock drops this October.
いいね、最高だ。
Third place is the Apothecary Diaries.
これ毒です。
If there's one thing that makes me happy doing these supplementary lists to my seasonal previews, it's the fact that it gives me a second chance to look at the roster as we get closer to the season and pick out really promising shows like this one. Apothecary Diaries is a drama set in ancient China, and it revolves around 17-year-old Mao Mao. Kidnapped at a young age and forced to work as a servant in a palace, she catches the attention of Jinshi, a eunuch who sees her for what she is, a girl with a talent for medicine owing to her experiences in her youth. Thus begins her new journey as she utilizes her talents in solving medical mysteries within the Emperor's court. It's been a while since we've had one of these kinds of shows, done in a similar vein with Yona of the Dawn or Snow White with red hair. These shows always end up being pleasant surprises. Some good watches if you're one who prefers slow builds and character drama, plus some beautiful aesthetics. This could be the niche hit of the season for fans of genres that don't typically become mainstream. And if you're up for slow burns that have strong aesthetics and themes, you're in for a treat with Frieren Beyond Journey's End. Far too often, we're concerned with the journey, the grand adventure to defeat the Demon Lord, to claim the Holy Grail and whatnot. But what happens when it's all over? What happens when you go on your separate ways as peace gets restored to the land? Add to that the fact that you're going to long outlive your friends, and you can see where I'm going, right? That's the gist of Frieren Beyond Journey's End, where the elf Frieren is left alone outliving all of her companions, finding comfort in a new journey with a human apprentice named Fern. A journey that will take them through the various places that made up much of Frieren's past. I've seen this title compared a lot with To Your Eternity, and it's easy to see why. The overall vibes feel the same, and Frieren deals with the idea of a long-living being finding out that there really is more to learn about the world and its inhabitants. The show is visually pleasing, and it promises to be a thematically strong journey full of emotional ups and downs.
じゃあまたね。私はもっと人間を知ろうと思う。
We close the list out with a classic, Pluto. Unlike the long sentences that make up a lot of modern anime's titles, there's not much you can infer from the title Pluto, besides the fact that it's a sci-fi series maybe. But man, it's one of the best ones you can have amongst the classics, being a sister story to the legendary Astro Boy. It tells of the death of the legendary robot Mont Blanc, the single flashpoint that sets esteemed detective Gesicht into action. It's this investigation that puts him in position to encounter the entity Pluto and a conspiracy to wreck human-robot coexistence. Robots who participated in the Great Asian War are in danger, and Gesicht must put his wits and skills to their limits in order to save the fragile world order before time runs out on him. One of the classics in the world of sci-fi anime, Pluto is a thrill ride that you're not gonna want to miss. It's got very strong writing as a manga, and I'm excited to see how well the strong themes and scenes present themselves in anime form. Anime watchers will finally get to experience one of Urasawa's best series, and considering how acclaimed titles like Monster are, we can definitely all get hyped for this one.
さっきの人、わからなかった。人間かロボットか。
And that more or less wraps up the top 10 most anticipated new anime for fall 2023. I've had good memories of past fall seasons, and I think this one is going to be no different. Some great shows in a variety of genres with something for everyone. Do tell me what you think of the list or what you think should have been included. And if you've still got time, why don't you drop by the channel and check out the other videos that I have in store for you too. Thanks for watching, hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time.